This is the shift boot cover for my column shift on my 2003 Ford Expedition. Here's a piece. I already pulled this off over the control stalk here, which caused that to split. But anyway, this was all just barely hanging on. I did find that Dorman makes a replacement piece for this, and it's relatively cheap, inexpensive. So I was getting ready to purchase one. Then I found some reviews on them saying, well, it fits okay, but then it just looks bad because this little opening here is really big. So anyway, I didn't like the look of that. So I decided to search Google there, and I went straight for a Ford factory replacement part. Here's your part number. This took me about a month to get in. I ordered it, and then about a month later, it finally showed up at my door. This part was not necessarily cheap. I think it was like $40 to $50. But it's going to give me a direct fit replacement, and it's going to be factory spec, you know, for this vehicle. And I know it'll fit and look good. This has the small opening on it, just like my original one did. I'm not going to be able to just shove it over the stalk here, because when I took this one off, it just tore it. So I think I have to do is simply pull this one off, which is pretty easy to do. Just has these plastic tabs holding it in. This one's toast. That's toast. So I think what I need to do is take this pin out, take this whole stalk out, and slip it on, and then, you know, put it back together again by putting this pin back in. So I'm probably have to put my key in just to get it to where I can pull the stalk down and be able to get at this pin to replace that. All right, so this pin I was able to push up and was able to get it to kind of bring up a little bit. Got a pair of pliers. I'm just going to grab a hold of this and just try to pry it up. It does have a wiring harness on it, but I'm not too worried about that right now. I think in order to get this back down in there, I'm gonna have to get it like a screwdriver or a punch or something and put it on the head of that and just kind of tap it in with a hammer to get it back, because it's got a little bit of a ridge on there for like a drive pin or something. Anyway, so it popped up pretty easy. What I'm going to do now is grab a pair of pliers and keep pulling this up until I get this completely removed. Just like that. Let that dangle. Get my new part out. So there's the new part. New part compared to the old one. Looks like it's got all the clips and tangs and things in the right position, so that's good. Just realized this wiring harness isn't going to let me get this shoved in here. This clip is just right there, but I can't really see enough, get my finger enough in there to get that disconnected. So I'm just going to go ahead and take these two Phillips heads out. So I got the screws undone, but this plastic isn't wanting to come up because there's pieces of plastic kind of curling behind the steering wheel here. I don't know if I can pop these out or not. Doesn't look like it, but I've got enough room now that I can see. Might be able to take a flathead screwdriver and just shove her right at the very top of that. There's like a little plastic tang I can see. So I got the wiring harness undone. Just has a little bit of a, just that little tang on there. You just lift up on the top piece of that plastic. So before I put this new one on the shaft, I'm gonna get that cleaned up. slip it over the bottom of it, get it all the way up here to the top of the, get all the way over here to this part of the shaft, and then try to put all this back together with this now in the way. See how cumbersome that becomes. But I really probably didn't have to take this plastic apart, but I'm kind of glad I did, so I can lift it up a little bit and see a little deeper in there. But all right, let's get this cleaned up. Hopefully I can get all this through without tearing the new one. Yeah, that's going good. Just get that shoved up there like that, and then just reverse the order here. Make it sound so easy. Just put it in, put the hole back, put the pin back in. There we go. All right. Take my clamp here, my pliers here, and try to squeeze her back on. All right, the pin is back in. My wiring harness is plugged back in. Now I gotta put these screws back in to put my plastic back together. All right, there she is, all put back together. Again, that's going from old, crusty, and busted to better than new. So glad that's done, so I can sleep at night knowing that that's not all in pieces and just bother me to look at. So there it is, 2003 Ford Expedition shift boot replacement. If you own a Ford, you have, or you will soon have, a door ajar light on your dashboard. It's a pretty common thing. I actually had it on my 98 Ford Ranger as well. Anyway, there is a door ajar switch, door open. There's a switch on your lock mechanism inside the door for these vehicles. It used to be like a little plunger or something inside the door jamb. I know on the GM vehicles, my 85 Corvette has it. You open the door, you look in the door jamb, there's a little like plunging button that activates the door, activates the dome lights and that kind of thing. So same situation here. There's a switch that gets depressed or released or whatever when you open and shut your door, that turns on your dome lights and does other things. Well, the light's always on, which means the system is saying there's a door open even though there isn't one. And the quick, easy fix that a lot of people do is just take some WD-40, lubricant, something, and just shoot her in the door lock mechanism on the side of the door. Well, I've done that, and then you shoot a bunch of WD-40 in it, and then you just go annoy your neighbors by opening and shutting your door a million times, and that clears it up, because the little ball, there's like a little ball bearing that gets pushed in on the switch. Well, I did that through all the doors, even the back hatch glass and all those locking mechanisms, and it still has it. So I'm gonna have to resort to actually getting into the door like I did on my Ranger. So what I'm gonna do today is just try to get the door panel off and then see if I can locate the switch. I'll show you what that switch looks like and what it's actually doing. And then I'm just gonna take that switch out and just thoroughly clean it and test on it to see if the door actually shuts off. Now, when I have the door open, my dome lights do not turn on. My guess is because the previous owner of this vehicle, they just decided to take out the light bulb rather than burn out their battery all the time. So I got some tools. I'm gonna try to get this door panel off. First things first, I wouldn't have any idea which door is really causing that. I wouldn't suspect that the driver's side door is really the issue. A lot of times when these vehicles sit for a long time, or if they're just a single passenger usage, like I suspect this one was very clean on the interior. It doesn't look like there was really anybody else in the vehicle except for a driver. So this door opens and shuts all the time. Yeah, it could be that switch, or it could be any one of these door switches that have not been used and they just kind of got gummed up over time because of lack of use. So the plan is just to go systematically through each door, try to find which one is the problem and get it fixed. My wife drives this vehicle, and when she gets into it at night, she wants to have light, which, you know, why wouldn't you? So let's work on getting these door panels off and showing you what these switches look like. As I was digging out the map pocket here, my suspicions were confirmed. I found the dome light bulb, took the light panel off, and sure enough, the bulb has been removed. That confirmed that theory. Let's work on getting this door panel off. I've never taken a door panel off of a Expedition or an F-150, but so far I'm seeing a screw, Phillips head screw there, a couple of, I guess, 8mm heads there, and that looks like that's it. So 3 points of attachment with screws, and the rest should just pop off with either friction clips or tabs or something. So 7mm. And just a Phillips head here. That sounded like it. Yep, that's great. Well, don't do what I'm doing, which is just absolutely destroying this reflector. I was hoping to find a screw back there, but I didn't. Sometimes there's hidden. What's this? All right, found that. There's a couple of Torx screws holding that on. Great, just managed to break that for no reason. Looks like we're getting there. Alright, just lift up and pull towards you. That's gonna have to pull out, honestly. Yep, that's all there was to it. Got a bundle of wiring harnesses that I'm going to have to Alright, so side mirror. I went to set my power seat locations and things on this car, and obviously there's nothing on there because this came from a different vehicle. Mine doesn't have that feature, so that was disappointing when I figured out that wasn't working. So anyway, basically peel back all of this. Set that out of the way because I just want to get right back in here. I took the 3 Torx heads out to allow this whole thing to just kind of flop around in there. I'm going to shoot to you straight, fellas. This is cramped. If you got arms any bigger than this, you're going to have a hard time getting this out of here. I'm going after this orange dude right there. Been working on some of these other doors, trying to figure out how to get this little switchy thing off. I finally figured it out on this back door. This is the dude we're going after. Okay, it's got a plunger on it that closes the circuit, I guess, which tells the computer that the door is closed. In order to get that thing off of this mechanism, it slides in kind of like this. See that little tang on there? And it goes in, push it in, and it twists. You can see that. Pushes in and twists until it spins all the way around to this little notch in that black plastic right there. While this is inside the door, you might be able to get this off without having to take all these screws out. I doubt it though. All you need to do is get a screwdriver in here, pull this plastic thing up, pull it this direction so that this tang comes off of that little notch right there, which is where that tang sits right there. Once I got that released, I was able to twist and pull. Twist and pull.
Like this. Turn and pull. Turn and pull. Forget about it. You'll be out in no time.
All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do that to all 4 of these doors. And here's the electrical harness for it. I'm going to take paper clips and I'm going to jump those terminals, which I think is going to close the circuit. I don't know. I'm going to do that to all 4 doors. I gotta get that door panel off. Well, first of all, I'm going to bridge all of these harnesses to see if that door light, the door jar light, will just go out. If it goes out, then I know I've got a problem with one of these switches on the door. I could troubleshoot it further from there. This door switch looked clean. It didn't look like, oh, it's all goopy and nasty like some of these I've seen. But that doesn't mean this one's bad or good. So just twist off. So I'm not gonna lie, this is cumbersome. It's annoying. Every bit of this is not fun. But this one could potentially be the culprit. It's pretty gummed up. The rest of them so far have looked pretty clean. So this one might actually be the culprit. I'm just gonna take some parts cleaner, clean that off, scrub her down, maybe put some WD-40 in it after that, and then reconnect it and just hope that this one may be the problem. In the meantime, I'm going to take these terminals and bridge them with a paper clip and just, I guess that's going to close the system and just try that out first. So just wanted to show you how to remove that from the bracket, because you'll twist on that and expecting it to come off and it won't. You got to get this black plastic pushed out of the way to get it to twist. Alright, the light is still on. I've got all my switches taken off, but I've jumped the terminal to close the circuit and it's on. So in case I've got this backwards, I'm going to unplug all my paper clips. Maybe it's closed if it's not bridged, I don't know. This is me being sick and tired of working on this so far, and hot, sweaty, thirsty. Really want this done and fixed. And what do we got? Still on. Okay, so don't know if I've really proven anything here other than just shredding my arms and the door panels and coming this close to saying some words that I know my wife would be appreciative of. Glad the kids are inside. I can't imagine all 4 of these switches being bad, but they could be. I still have my rear hatch door switches that I need to get to as well, so I guess I'm not done yet. So 3 screws there. I'm not seeing any sort of screws other than on my latch here, and we'll just work at popping this panel off, seeing if there's anything up here on the latch or down here on this latch. popped the glass up, I did find a couple of these Phillips heads here. All the rest, after I took the 2 screws out for the pull down latch, pull down strap, it's just a plastic screw. Once I got the 2 screws out for the strap, pull down strap, the panel just popped out with those friction clips. Not a big deal. Yeah, it's one of those jobs. Just a push pin. And now those are out. Will it slide up? Yep, good. Now this should just, yep, pop off. Okay, great. Get the work over my head now. That's always fun. I don't see one of those switches on this mechanism up here. That's my windshield wiper motor. You know, it doesn't mean there's not anything built into this mechanism, but I don't see a door ajar switch on this unless it's built into that. I don't really see anything on here. Let me do some more digging. I got this out. I didn't find any kind of plunging switch on it like on the doors on these mechanisms, but I just soaked it down with some WD-40 so that when I put it all back up above my head, it's all going to drip in my eyeballs. I'm just going to put this back together, call the back hatch done. I'm going to take some parts cleaner and clean up all 4 door switches. Once I clean them up with some parts cleaner, I'll shoot them down with some WD-40 again, plug it all back in, put it all back together again, and if my door ajar lights are still on, then perhaps the actual switches themselves are bad, or I've got some kind of a fault in the wiring of the vehicle somehow. I hope that's not the case. I hope I can just clean them all up, put them back in, it'll be fine, but I'm not counting on it. Just spraying this with some parts cleaner and just pushing the plunger in about 1,000,000 times. Try to work it down in there. This works great if you have cuts on your hand, then all that chemical just gets in there and just burns your fingers. It's great. I got all these door switches out, or so I thought, but I just realized I hadn't actually taken the switch out of this one yet. I just unplugged it. Well, wouldn't you look at here? That's supposed to be out. It's currently stuck in the down position. There's my culprit. Well, let's clean it up. All right, try as I might, I cannot get that to come out. Have no fear. Like all good mechanics, and keep some backups. These were when I was trying to get the door switches to work on my 98 Ranger. I went to the junkyard and I bought a handful of these things years ago to try to get that to work. So I'm going to replace that bad one with one of these junkyard ones and hope it works. I'm going to try to shoot some cleaner in that and lube it up as well, and then toss this baby on there and see if it does in fact take out that door ajar light, which if I would have gotten this one off sooner than I did, I wouldn't have took all these other door panels apart.
It's true.
You live and you learn, right? Ran into another problem. The one I took out, which is bad, has the little tang there in that position. I would say as you're looking at it face on, it's in the 4 o'clock position. but that one's in the 6 o'clock, so these aren't even the same, which means it's not going to lock in there, which means I can't use these off the Ranger. I'm going to be stuck ordering one of these parts. I'm going to continue to dig in there, see if I can somehow get this to snap on. I might be able to get it to where the wiring harness is on the other side. Don't know if that'll make it go back into the door right or not, but I might be able to do that. Otherwise, I'm either going to have to go, I'm not going to the junkyard to buy one of these, or to dig one of these out of a door, because it's a pain in the buns to get to. So I'm not doing that. I am going to probably try to find one online and order one in and ship it to me. So that being said, I'm going to plug everything back in anyway. I'm going to plug this into my harness, and I'm going to manually just press this and see if I can get that door jar light to turn off. So I have all the door switches back in, and I have the door latch in the close position on all these. And this is the one that I can't quite get the connector to behave. So I'm going to push this down manually. Can't see it from here, but the door jar light is still on. Great. So that either means that this switch is bad, or I have another bad switch somewhere else. Boy, I'm getting tired of this. So I had 3 extras. I plugged all 3 extras into this harness, and still on. Dang it, I'm an idiot. My back door's open. Let's try it again. This time with the back hatch shut. Let's pretend like that didn't happen. So it's getting to be twilight. I've burned a lot of time messing with this rig, trying to figure out what's going on with these doors. I finally got a result. All this video up until this point has led me to find out that the passenger side front door is the culprit. I showed you the switch earlier. It's bad. So I got a new one on order through the good old Amazon. Should be coming in a few days. In the meantime, I got all these other doors. I got the back doors and the front door put back together. Everything's plugged in. I'm on the last door here. I thought, well, let me wiggle this paper clip in this wiring harness one more time, see if I can get that dash light to go out. I started messing with the paper clip inside my wiring harness, and the dash light went out, and the dome light's on a timer, so it didn't go out immediately, but the dash light went out and I heard the chime. So what I did was I got rid of the flimsy little paper clip I had, and I am making this little key. This is out of an old radiator hose. Just used my wire clippers and just clipped out this little key that I'm going to shove into the sensor here. So I'm going to see if I can show you the result I got on camera here. All right, I'm going to try to jimmy this into the wiring harness without dropping it into the door. Sweet, I got a result. Dome light is also off. Here's what I did. Just shoved it right into the connector. It's in there pretty deep. Should stay put for what I'm needing it for. I'm gonna go ahead and put this door panel back on, and in the meantime, we're back in business in here. All right, so here's the new one, DS957. This is going into the passenger door, and you can see the little bump out there is in the right position this time. So this one comes pre-packaged with lube. That's nice. All right, so what I'm gonna do is just get down in there and connect my connector and just shove her into my lock there. I'm really hoping that I don't have to take this thing out again, because that was really a pain in the butt. And it's super hot out here, so I want to kind of get this done quick. But take out my makeshift door shutter and then put in my new one. Well, I had to take this apart again. I just can't see nothing back here. So moving this back off the door a little bit, I can kind of feel the hole where my middle finger is there. I think that's the hole. I don't know. It's really hard to see. But I've already got her plugged in. Just a matter of just trying to find the location and get it on there and twist it. She's finally in there. Good grief. It's not hard. It's just this whole thing's been annoying. Just can't see anything, and just really hard to kind of get my fat hands in here. Not a lot of decent openings. Well, there's a good opening here, but everything just wants to slice you. All right, before I shut everything back down again, let's test on this. She's out, and no door ajar light anymore, so that switch is functioning. Check this one off the list. Door ajar light is out. But that's it for my door ajar. I'm gonna get this door panel back on and wrap this one up. The driver's seat bottom foam is deteriorating and it's shedding foam onto the carpet, and it's also leaning me towards the door panel, so needs to be replaced. So there's my 2003 new tires. Going to the interior here, you can see I've got quite a bit seat foam going on down here. What in the world is that? Anyway, got some seat foam just deteriorating on here. You can see this is pretty much just gone. So when you're sitting in the seat, kind of lean towards the door panel. Never mind all the dog hair. So pretty much this side is just gone. Seat back is not terrible. It's a little, something's going on in there. But anyway, that's not really necessarily the problem. It's this. You can just see it even down here. It's awfully crumbly. So I'm gonna work on getting this seat out of here, set it up on my workbench, and start tearing it apart. I've got a new seat foam that I ordered off the interwebs. It's from quirkparts.com. Not sponsoring this video, but it's where I got it. This place was the cheapest that I could find it. Before tax or whatever, I think it was like $116. Yikes, just for foam. But it was the cheapest place that I found it. Anyway, there's my new part. I'm gonna work on getting the seat out of the truck and bringing it on in here and getting it torn down and just seeing what I'm dealing with. So enough yapping, let's get to it. This is what I got, T55. It's coming loose. That's good. All right, that wasn't bad at all. All right, let's look on the back. Yeah, look at all that foam. Crazy. All right, so there's a bolt there. Looks like I gotta take that plastic cover off. All right, for some reason this bolt is much longer in that hole than the other ones. This plastic cover was easy to come off, just pulled straight back. 2015. We haven't had this vehicle very long. I haven't been through any drive-thrus yet, so these French fries are probably 2015. There's two wire connectors I'm going to have to get disconnected. That French fry is probably 6 or 7 years old, and it still looks like you can pick it up and eat it.
That's nasty.
No. All right, here we go. Let's get this off. All right, I had to turn the old shop fan on. It's pretty hot in here, so hopefully you can hear me over it. I'm going to work on getting these switches and knobs off because I've got to pull this panel. I don't think there's really any screws that hold this stuff in. Yeah, this looks like a friction clips and whatnot. So I'm going to work on trying to figure out how to get these off, and then pop this off, and then work on getting this cushion off of here. I'm gonna have to flip it on its side and all that, but we'll get you in here and take a look at it here in just a second. But there's no plastic on the inside, obviously, because it was next to the other seat, so not sure I'm gonna have to take that off. But that's just Velcroed. That's nice. Underneath here, just pretty standard fare. Just looks like just clips that hold in via the friction. So just got to figure out how to get these off. All right, so this, if you just get a screwdriver underneath it, screwdriver here and another screwdriver here, and just pry, this will pop off. It'll make some terrible noises, but it'll come off. Okay, so that comes off pretty easily. I have been cranking on this thing. From what I understand, it just pops off as well, but I have not had any success with it. I may have to throw my purse at it, hit it with my purse here, but this is on there, so I'm gonna have to try to pry this off without snapping it off. We'll see. You see, I gnarled it up pretty bad just trying to pry it off, but I don't know what really holds that in there, but that was on there tight. Always gotta fight. Once you get that cover off, there's a little bolt in there. I'm going to assume that it is a 7mm, and I assume correctly, and that should come right out. Just twist it, get it off that lever there. Now I got the wire harness for this thing, but it doesn't look like it just pops out easily, so I may just have to unscrew that. After fumbling through that, got that off. Put that out of the way. Now let's look at seeing how we get this seat cushion off of here. There's already chunks of foam coming off of it. Alright, so far it's looking like just these clips kind of holding this fabric on. Big one right here in the front that was already flapping. There's the motor for the, or one of the motors. There's two motors on here. And then this clip here in the back. So I'm gonna work on getting these undone, and that should release the fabric on this. Get hung up on this seat retractor. I have to take that off. Alright, so here's a lesson in don't do what I just did. There's actually a screw holding this on. I thought it was just a friction clip. clicking on this, I just broke the plastic retainer. This actually has a little tab here. So the rubber piece comes off, and which will give you access to the nut that's right there. So mess that one up. Great. What is this? Behind, when you take this one off here, behind, there's a piece of Velcro that's holding, I guess, these two sides together. Well, come off there. Now, there we go. That made that a lot easier. So that'll just slide over those little loops there. There you have it. Just goes to show you how broken down that was. This is already getting into the spring. Yeah, that's bad. I actually didn't have to take this apart to let me know this was bad. My butt was telling me that when I was sitting in it. So, before I go any further, let's make sure that this is even the right part. An actual Ford part. There's your part number right there. I have no idea if these things are white from the factory, but definitely not the same color. But I don't know that that really matters. I'll put some Velcro in here. Taking the Velcro with, or the foam with the Velcro. So if you're replacing seat covers and not just the foam, careful pulling this off so you don't rip the Velcro right out of the foam. Alright, so that's looking like a match. So I was able to get all the foam kind of blown out of here with my air compressor. This seat cover is a little worse for the wear. It's supposed to have some foam here, but obviously she gone. And there's a little bit of a hole in the fabric, so that's no bueno, but it's what I got. So I'm not gonna order a new seat cover for this thing. I don't want to put too much money into it. I'm trying to keep this a budget build. I'm gonna clean up the Velcro. I'm gonna get this onto here so that I can fit it all back. I'm gonna do my best to line up this U-shaped Velcro on here. This stuff is grippy. This stuff is really grippy. So I'm gonna try to flip this up in a way that I can see it. Got the seat foam on, got the seat cover back on, and I attached all the J-clips, or these, they latch on like this, a couple here. Pretty straightforward. I got these tucked back over the arches in the back on both sides, got them Velcroed together. There's this plastic board that kind of goes up in the back that helps protect the back of it. That's all hooked in with the these clips. There's one big broad one in the back, there's two on this side, there's two on the other side, there's one big broad one in the front, and it's all on. Have a little tiny hole here and here. Don't know if I'm gonna be able to fix this or not without just replacing the seat cover. If that comes to the fact that I need to do that in the future, at least I know what I'm doing now. I can take this apart a little bit easier. So I'm gonna work on getting this trim piece back on, and then we're ready to put it back in the truck. All right, she's back together. Let's get it back in the truck. Got the seat back in. Got everything bolted down in position. Now it's time to test it out. All right, well, it's gonna be hard to describe, but I'm not leaning to the door panel anymore. That's good. One more thing checked off the list here. Glad to have this one done. The old seat foam was just shedding onto the carpet and was making the old back hurt sitting here because my hips were crooked and leaning towards the door panel. So this is done. Feels a lot better, a lot more even, sitting flat, and should be better off during longer road trips and things that we plan on doing with this vehicle. So appreciate you guys sticking around. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. I know I did. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time. God bless.